Yeah.
The member from St. Andrew South, and then the member from St. Andrew Southwest.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We have consistently given a no objection to the renewals of these zones of special operations. They used to come a 90-day into a 60-day intervals, I think. The law was amended, now they're coming at 6-monthly intervals. And what I would say is this: it's not obvious to many people that they really serve any continuing useful purpose. I mean, when I go through Augustown, when I go through Denham Town, I don't pass through, man. When may I check you? There's very little to show for it in terms of any saturated military or law enforcement presence. There's usually just a little checkpoint where somebody is stationed. You're looking forlorn, usually. And my point really is we're extending this for another 6 months. These areas will be under the special legal regime that the Zozo legislation creates, which is a legal regime which has elements to it which are reduced rights or increased law enforcement powers, which is really the corollary of each other, in a way that most of Jamaica doesn't experience currently. So I'm hesitant, Minister, to just continue sort of in a fairly mechanistic way to just say, yes, continue. As you've said, I mean, some of these zones are approaching a decade now. And, you know, we're all happy that the focused deterrence strategy of policing has achieved reductions, significant reductions in major crimes and murders. I don't think you can attribute that to the Zozos, because there are many, many parts of Jamaica where the murder rates were extremely high and have benefited from the overall reduction. And there continue to be, from time to time, flare-ups of violence in the Zozo areas. You know, so it's a bit of a mixed bag. But in the interest of consensus as much as being achieved as much as possible around issues to do with the fight against serious crime, we want to be supportive, and we have been. We've only differed fundamentally on the use of states of emergency, which are no longer being used, and we're pleased for that. And the results of the new strategies speak for themselves. We're pleased with that. So what I would say, Minister, is that I'm hoping that you will come with a ministerial statement as opposed to, you know, a statement like this, which we appreciate, but a ministerial statement when the House is full and we can have a proper discussion around it as to what is the real future for this particular mechanism. What are you've indicated you're looking to transition to something a bit different, which I welcome that. And you're doing some database analysis as to how they've worked over the time that you've deployed them, which is also very good, and we're looking forward to seeing the results of that. So, you know, we're not going to oppose this today, but I would just say to you that I'm personally skeptical as to the continuing usefulness of the zones in these communities. There may be, hopefully won't be, but who knows, in the future there may be the need to deploy this mechanism from time to time where there's a problem. Hopefully that won't happen, but, you know, as it stands today, I don't think the continuing use of this is the right approach. I do think that interventions to strengthen communities along the lines of Project STAR, in the past we had Unite for Change, those types of things do have an important role to play to provide hope, provide opportunities for self-advancement, to uplift the dignity of communities and so on. And we would support any initiative moving in that general direction, I think. So, Minister, I hope that we will hear from you soon again on where you plan to take these communities and when we can expect to see the zone of special operations mechanism withdrawn from these communities and something more comprehensive, perhaps island-wide in areas which need that kind of care and attention being rolled out to the benefit of the residents of those communities that need that. So you have our support again today, Minister. I would just close by saying what has happened in the last 24 hours plus with 11 police fatal shootings is a concern to us. You know our position that we support the body-worn cameras being deployed on special operations. We think this is an important thing to ensure that Jamaica can have confidence that the rule of law is being scrupulously followed by our law enforcement officers. And the metrics where you have a situation like 11 citizens killed by agents of the state in such a short space of time, that is a concern. I can't make any comment on the specifics of those incidents, but just the statistical side of it is concerning. And I think that we need to find ways of providing an assurance of accountability for the use of extreme force, deadly force, by the police. And I think the society is increasingly perturbed that we're seeing this elevated level of police fatal shootings and nothing really apparently in place to assure accountability around it. Indicom isn't really generating, they have so much work on their plate now. They must have so much, the volume of investigations that would be in their portfolio has grown tremendously as a result of the increase in police fatal shootings. So, you know, it's a long period of time before families and a community get the benefit of hearing what Indicom's investigation produced. In the meantime, people are feeling extremely vulnerable and very concerned. And that's not a good thing because the force is there to serve and protect, and they're doing a wonderful job for the most part. But there are these things happening which are not good, and we would like to see something done to address that. And as Minister of National Security, I'd ask you to, I know that must exercise your mind a lot, but because it's a very thorny issue, but I'm hoping we can find some way of changing the paradigm a bit and restoring a sense of the primacy of the rule of law in how we police our population. I think it's very important. Thank you.